This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cage Side Press, and I'm here with the UFC flyweight known for kicking girls' butts, Andrea KGB Lee, in the middle of training camp in Colorado. So, Andy, we know you spend a lot of time at your home in Louisiana. You train in California, in Colorado. First off, what's it like just having that very you just have so many places where you go to train, and it's not like they're all grouped together like some of the guys and girls have. So, just can you talk a little bit about traveling for all this training that you're getting?
Yeah. Well, whoops, I'm losing you. I must spill my coffee. Yeah, it can be a little stressful at times because traveling can get very tiring, especially whenever you're in training camp. And I think that right now it's working out best for me because I have good relationships in California out there with Jim and Aspen. And then I come here, kind of made good connections here through Tecia Torres with Pound for Pound and Elevation. And I really like the style of striking that I'm getting out here. So it's been a lot of fun, and I feel like I'm growing. I feel like my striking is sharpening up. It's getting better. Um, of course, I would love to be at home, with my little girl and make that work, but right now, unfortunately, I have to travel for my camps. But it's also nice to do that because I get to sightsee and I get to meet new people, and it's a lot of fun. It's a cool journey to be on.
A side note, in Colorado, I noticed in some of the pictures, you're also training up there, Tisha, but also Montana De La Rosa, who you fought
Yeah.
before.
Yes.
I know it's not like you guys had this Conor and Habib rivalry and all this bad blood, but does it ever come up? Like, does Montana ever bring up, like, Andy, why'd you have to hit me so hard that one time we fought? Like, does it ever come up, honestly?
No, it doesn't. But she hit me hard too. I remember. I had some black eyes after that fight, but no, it doesn't come up. I think that's just it is what it is. We don't even think about it really. We get a lot of good work together. We've sparred a couple of times already, and I think we're both great partners for each other. And I'm glad she's out here.
I want to go back a little bit. So, first off, I want to talk about some positive things because I know our last interview, even though the fight didn't happen, it got a little dark. So, I want to ask you a lot of stuff because I know a lot of positive things are going on, Andrea. The first off, last time you were going to fight in 2020, didn't happen, but I'm assuming it's a little positive fighting in 2021 because you have a whole calendar with Andy Wynn. So I'm going to put some photos on the screen, but I want to ask you about these. There's obviously you looking,
Yes.
very cute and green, and I know you're in a couple months also. I mean, first off, talk to me about that. Is it good having a new year to sell calendars? Because obviously I think no one wanted to think about 2020. 2021, I feel like people are more enthusiastic.
Yeah, I think I mean for me and Andy, it's just something that we've kind of made a tradition. So it's something to do for our fans, and we get to dress up and have fun. But really, it's just because we've made it a tradition, and some of the fans look forward to it every year. They're always asking when's the new calendar coming out. So now it's kind of I feel obligated, but it's just something to do, and we make a little money. Um, Unfortunately, we don't make enough money off of them.
Can I have sales at least been better since 2021 compared to 2020?
Yes,
Okay.
for sure.
I would
Yes,
assume
but
so. I kind of didn't want to keep turning the calendar in 2020. It just felt like one of those movies like the clock kept spinning, so I'm assuming it's a little
yeah.
better.
But
On the
everybody wanted 2020 because 2020 was a shit show, and it's a year to remember. So a lot of people wanted that 2020.
Can I ask, so when you do the calendar, do you sit there and tell Andy like, "Hey, I want December, I want July." How does it work dividing the months, or is that someone else's decision?
Yeah, sometimes we do that. Well, it just depends on whichever photos kind of like turn out, which ones kind of like it, let's say I always do Christmas. Andy did kind of a Christmas theme, but she did it more of like she was in ski boots with her husky dog, and she had like a little Santa hat on. And I wanted to do a Christmas theme with the Christmas tree because we've done it like every year, like with the Christmas tree. And I was like, and we have to do it that way. And she was like, well, you take you some Christmas photos and we'll see which ones, look better in that, and that's how we'll decide. And so that is how we decided because we don't like to have our photos like back to back. So it's like every other month is ours. So that kind of solved that issue.
Also wanted to ask
We
because
don't
I know
fight.
you got out there and you're even doing the fan meet and greets, which obviously a lot of the athletes haven't been able to do yet. I always wonder about this because I know you're very popular. You're obviously very popular through the calendars and everything with a lot of the male fans. What's it like kissing all of the trading cards? Because it's like,
That
I
was
know
fun.
fans like it, but it's like, is it ever a little awkward?
Yes, and that was my first time doing that. And I actually initially I said no, I wasn't going to do the kiss cards because it did. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing, I guess, the kiss cards, but at the same time, I was thinking somebody else is making money off of this. Somebody else is making more profit off of this than I am, and it should be sold from me. So I only did a couple of those, and I only made a couple of dollars off of each thing. It was like, what was it like? $3 per signature, which is really like way under pay. And we had like 500 things that we had to sign. So to me, I mean, I feel like because the Kiss cards, I mean, I think that they're selling them for like $50 or something like that. I got $3 just to sign it. So I feel like, you know, I feel like,
You
uh,
you got to get some of those on the AndreaLee.com shop kind of deal.
yeah, pretty much.
I hear you. Uh, Another side note, I noticed, but are you also going to be in a film, The Texas Witch? Did I see that correctly?
Oh yes, yeah. I have a small role. I get to. I don't know if I could what I can really say, but yeah, I have a small role, and I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun role, even though it's small. Like it's gonna be fun to do.
No, by small,
Oh,
you will
sorry.
have some lines and all that, right? Like it's not just you're going to be in the background like bad guy number two. You will be talking, right?
I asked for no lines. So my role, they told me they could give me some lines, or I could just act it out. And I was like, I just don't want to act it out. I'm like, I don't want to have any lines. I just want to be all action, and that be it. Because technically, it's a flashback scene. So sometimes it's like, how somebody's telling a story, and then in the story they do like a flashback, and it's just showing the action. It's not necessarily any talking. It's a horror movie. So imagine a horror. They're doing a flashback scene and they're just showing like kind of what happened. It's like spooky. So somebody else is narrating what's going on. So,
And
so I don't know. Hopefully it's gonna be a good show and the movie. I hope everything goes well for all of the other actors and all of the director and everybody who's putting a lot into this. I hope it ends up being a good show. I heard it might be I think it might be a remake maybe of another movie. Somebody said they've heard of the Texas Witch before, so I don't know. I could be wrong.
now, final question on that,
I'm
like,
rambling.
do you know if you get to do magic or are you not that kind of witch? Wait and
I
see.
mean, I get to kill somebody, so that's cool.
Okay, all right, awesome, awesome. Andy, I was
I'm
think
that kind of witch.
Andrea, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about just your career and your journey over just everything. I was watching an old interview. You used to be a server at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah,
What is
I
that like?
was.
Because I can imagine few cooler things than going from working at B Dubs to now they have your fights on the TV at B Dubs. I think that must be one of the coolest experiences ever.
It is pretty neat. For one, all of my friends that I made while I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings, even the managers, some of the managers are still at the current spot that I used to work at, and they have my picture up on the wall, and they're always really excited whenever I'm fighting, and they love to support me, so they'll do whatever for me, and I really do appreciate that, and it's the fighting I enjoy it so much. I really don't want to go back to waiting tables. But, you know, everything kind of started and originated from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Can we go back a little bit? So I know you talked about it with James Lynch and them. You're in the last days of training camp. You're in your last sparring session. You take the knee to the nose. It's broken. You're out of the fight with Jillian. Can you talk a little bit about the aftermath? Because you get to the end of camp, you're already, I'm sure, the plane ticket is ready, you know everything's going to happen in Vegas, and then that's just it. You get all the work, but you don't get the actual fight. Just can you talk a little bit about processing that in December?
Man, that was tough because like I had already said, you know, it was like the last 60 seconds and the last final round. I didn't even have to do another round. We just decided to do another round because I was feeling good and I wanted to push myself, and then that happened. Um, you know, we went to the hospital. I mean, I was pouring blood. I mean, it was like a puddle of blood just spewing out from underneath me, you know, because at first, like, I dropped to my knees and I just wanted to, like, be left alone. I just wanted to sit here for a second because I knew, I was hoping it wasn't broken, but I felt like it was. There was just, like, pouring out like waterfall said. And, you know, then we went to, it wasn't crooked. So we were hoping, we still had hope, you know, that it wasn't broken. But after we got to the doctor and we got the x-ray and stuff, they're like, yeah, it's definitely broken. Like, you should not fight. If you do, you'll end up deviating my septum, or right? Isn't that what they said? Yeah. And then I would need surgery, and it would be much worse. So, I, you know, plus, I mean, it was very sensitive to the touch. So had I gone on and fought, which the UFC wouldn't have let me fight anyways, you know, they would have checked everything probably. But yeah, it was a big Debbie Downer. It sucked. I was really looking forward to that matchup with Jillian, and you know, I was prepared. I was ready. You know, it was going to be a fun fight, I think. And you know, not being able to fight really hurt me, especially my wallet. So, you
Did you
know, it happens
watch?
though.
Did you watch her fights? Obviously, Jillian went on to fight Tyler Santos and then later Miranda Maverick. Did you watch those fights?
Yeah, I did see it, and everybody's like, "Man, you would have definitely won that fight." You know, I'm just like, ugh. I know. I feel like I definitely would have too, but you know, you never know until you're in the cage against across from somebody. I mean, Styles make fights, and Santos went in there, she killed it, and she took that fight. I think her opponent fell out. Wasn't that Montana was her opponent?
Yes.
Montana. Yeah,
I
and then
think,
they
I believe it was Montana.
yeah. So it was crazy how things worked out.
So in terms of going back to training and back to sparring, I know when you break the nose, obviously there's that moment, right? Everything's tender right there in the center, in the sinuses. Can you talk a little bit about that first time, kind of taking that punch around the nose into the face, and you have that moment. It's like, okay, I'm good now. It's back to normal. Talk about that.
I still get a little nervous with sparring in small gloves, you know, because I mean, and catching knees, and I guess I have like little flashbacks here and there, but I'm pretty much like past it now. Like I've been sparring here at Elevation with, like I said, Montana and Lily and some of the other girls, and it's been fine. So I mean, I feel like you know, I'm getting back to normal.
And
It's been enough time anyway, so I mean, it's healed.
so can we talk about it now? Getting the contract, they call you and say, "Hey, Andrea, it's not Jillian, but we got a big fight for you, Antonina Shevchenko." Can you talk about getting the call and just what you think of her as an opponent and how you match up?
Interesting enough, my coaches had already sent me a couple of name options. They're like, it's gonna be probably, I think like Antonina would be a good one, or whoever else, I can't remember at the moment. But you know, I was just like, yeah, whoever, you know, because I mean, I want to get a fight, that'd be great. And then come back, you know, like a day or two later, and then, you know, I get offered a fight with Antonina. So we kind of already expected that matchup might be one, you know, that was going to be coming about, and it did. So we're excited about it.
How do you feel like you match up with her stylistically? Because I think a lot of people see that and it's like, hey, like both well-rounded, both love to strike, both have great styles on the feet. This could be a really fun one right there on the prelims.
Yeah, most definitely. I think our styles match up really well. Again, she's a really great striker. She's good at Muay Thai. She's becoming well-rounded, and I think that it just makes for a good fight. And I can't wait to get out there and show everybody like what I've been working on. And I plan on making it a fun fight because I want to get 50K. Dadgummit.
Can I ask, when people sign to fight Antonina, I've noticed there seems to be a bit of this trend. People kind of set it up as when you fight Antonina, you're also almost fighting Valentina. Like it becomes you versus the Shevchenkos. Are you feeling any of that, either from the fans or anything else? Do you feel like people are saying, oh, you're trying to go from Antonina to Valentina long term in any way?
No, I just feel like I'm fighting Antonina. I'm not fighting Valentina. I'm fighting Antonina. And Antonina is she's a great fighter all on her own. And I don't feel like I'm fighting both. I know who I'm fighting, and it's just Antonina. And I'm not like nervous about that at all. If that's what if that was part of the question, I mean, no, I don't feel nervous because I'm stacking up against Antonina, and then also I know that Valentina's going to be in her corner, and I think that's great. But Antonina's her own person, so I'm sure she hates to feel like she's living in her sister's shadow, because everybody it's like, oh, you're fighting Valentina's sister. I'm like, well, she has a name, it's Antonina.
No, I definitely get that. As we round home here, just a couple more. You are going back to fight in Houston. Obviously, we remember last year, just the judging the last time you and John Jones and a bunch of people were on that card. It was, people had some questions. I know you're excited, I'm sure, for the fans to be back, but was there any, I guess a little worry like, hey, I remember what happened the last time I went to the scorecards. I'm going kind of going back to the scene of the crime here in Houston.
The
What were
scene
your
of the
thoughts on
crime.
that?
Well, I mean, of course it's funny because I'm like, oh crap, back to Houston. But I'm excited, to be back in Texas, to have a crowd. And I mean, things will go differently, I feel like this time. And I don't plan on leaving it in the hands of the judges. So, that's one way to keep the judges from having a say.
Two women you're familiar with, Lauren Murphy and JoJo Calderwood. What are your thoughts on their matchup and just how that one plays out between those two?
Man, I think it's a great matchup. I feel like both girls stand a really good chance with each other. I know that Lauren Murphy's been working on her striking. She's been standing a lot more. But I mean, she's also a really good grappler, and she's well-rounded. So I mean, it's hard to say. I know she's a very good striker, and she's hard to handle on her feet. But I think Lauren will definitely. I think Lauren could edge out this win for sure.
Can I, can I ask, did you see the fights a few nights ago on Saturday with Valentina and Jessica Andrade?
Yes.
I mean, I think the question a lot of people have is like, okay, when you look at Valentina, can Lauren Murphy or JoJo get the job done? Because it seems like she was very unstoppable. You've been in there with both of them. What do you think about, JoJo or Lauren Murphy in a potential title fight with Valentina?
Man, it's just Valentina's striking is superior. It is really good. And I feel like if she fights JoJo, I believe because JoJo likes to clinch. Valentina's really good at clinch. So I think that like if they end up, fighting each other, end up in the clinch, I think Valentina will be able to take it to the ground. And obviously Valentina has shown like she's well-rounded. I mean, she can do anything standing or grappling. And I think that JoJo would have a hard time with that. And then with Lauren Murphy, I feel like Lauren's a good grappler. She's good at jiu-jitsu. But if Valentina wants to keep it standing, she'll be able to keep it standing. And I do know that like hand placement, like where I see Lauren, like sometimes she keeps her hands away from her face. I mean, Valentina set up her head kicks very well, very easily, you know. And so I think that that could pose a threat for Lauren, you know. So possible knockout. I think she might keep it standing with Lauren, maybe. I think.
Finally, Andrea, and I think a lot of people, they're going to look at it. Antonina was coming off that nice win. We know that, it just has, the scorecards haven't gone your way the last few. What's your final message to those people who are like, you know what, maybe Andrea Lee's back is against the wall? What is your message to them who don't know that, hey, this time you're dialed in, you're focused, you're going out there to stop this skid on the 15th, 14th?
Well, you know, losses are nothing but lessons, and I feel like I've learned a lesson in each fight. You know, through my losses, and you know, I feel like I found my way back. You know, mentally and physically and technically. So I feel really good about this fight, and I think that I don't want to jinx myself, but I think the fans should be expecting a really fun and exciting fight. You know, I'm back, and I hope to put on one heck of a fight for everyone. You know?
Well, Andrea, certainly, like I said, I think it's going to be one of the better matchups that we have on the card. I know it's a very stacked main card. You know, you obviously got the lightweight title fight. You've got Nate Diaz, Leon Edwards, Tony Ferguson is going to be out there. So there's a lot to be excited about. So I'm sure that you're very excited to be a part of one of these nice stacked cards. So we're definitely looking forward to it. Final question. Do you have any last message to your fans, and you want to shout out any sponsors before we go?
Yes, give me a second. I want to thank AMS Racing, John and John Trucking Company, Fire Protection Services, High Ground Apparel. I think SMAA, MMA Gold, Pound for Pound, Elevation. All of my fans, everyone has helped me out with this fight camp. I really do appreciate it. All of my sponsors who have helped me and thrown money my way to help me get, to Colorado and California, make things happen. I really do appreciate it. Frequency Interrupted, I'd like to thank Frequency Interrupted. And yeah, I guess that's it. Kristensen Arms. Thanks to Kristensen Arms. Victory Beef. I want to thank Victory Beef too. I've had quite a few people who reached out to me and they wanted to help me out since fight camp, and I really do appreciate it. I need to have on the top of my mind, so it's bad.
Well, I think you handled it just fine. Andrea, once again, just thank you always for the time and best of luck on your fight. And guys, remember that's going to be on May 15th, UFC 262. Andrea KGB Lee taking on Antonina Shevchenko. You guys are not going to want to miss it.